Hello everyone, here we are in California with the sun shining and the Sonoma Raceway proving to be a huge attraction to not only the drivers but the spectators that want to see some real race action on what is termed a very old school circuit. We bring the Ferrari Challenge to Sonoma and we know it's going to entertain. We have a series of races across the weekend that will feature the Pirelli drivers, the Pirelli AM drivers, also the Copa-Shell and Copa-Shell AM drivers, all driving their 488 Challenge Evos to the absolute max on this circuit which takes no prisoners. Here we are, this wonderful circuit that winds its way through the Napa Valley here in Sonoma. Trofeo Pirelli Race 1 is on its way. The mix of Pirelli and Pirelli AM drivers that will take to this really rather challenging 2.5 mile or 4 kilometer circuit. 12 turns, 6 of them left, 6 of them right-handers, and it is a circuit that will bite you on the bottom if you get it wrong. And as you can see, we're quite some way through our 2023 season, having been to Homestead, Miami, also COTA, Road Atlanta and Montreal in support of Formula One. Here we are in Sonoma with Road America to come at the beginning of September. And then, of course, Tuscany in Italy for the Finale Mondiale event right at the end of October. Please follow us on @Ferrari Races. This is precisely where we are then, this beautiful region of California. And there, in pinpoint accuracy, is where we are in the United States. And what a fantastic location for a circuit and a great place to spend the weekend with Ferrari Challenge, these 488 Challenge Evo cars making their presence felt around this superb racing circuit. So there we are. As I mentioned to you, it is some 2.5 miles or 4 kilometers. 6 left, 6 right hands make up the 12 turns or so, and some of those are off camber, negative camber, and therefore very, very tricky for the drivers to get right. And what a circuit it is, and something that perhaps we don't appreciate enough is the fact that there's a real undulating nature for this track. So what have we got in terms of the weather then? At the moment, the air temperature is a balmy 34 degrees, track temperature 44 degrees. How that's going to play out in terms of tyre longevity, that will be interesting to see as the race develops, that's for sure. So tyre preservation, and there you can see it's very busy down there on the pit lane. As lots and lots of people enjoying the final stages of the drivers preparing for their race to come. We have a mix, as I said, of Pirelli and Pirelli AM drivers as well, all that will be taken to the track for a 30-minute race with their 488 Challenge Evos. Qualifying done and dusted. Manny Franco set the best time in terms of Trofeo Pirelli drivers. For the Pirelli AM drivers, it was John Horsch that did the deal and has put the car pole position within his class. So 2 classes racing together then to look forward to across the course of today's race and tomorrow's race as well. 2 races to come from the Ferrari Challenge across any given Ferrari Challenge weekend. So fantastic stuff, and what a sight that is to behold there. As you can see, a very, very busy pit lane indeed, and drivers in final stages of preparation for their race, and of course they'll be getting final words of advice from their driver coaches and engineers and such like in terms of how to prepare themselves, how to prepare the cars. Absolutely critical when the temperature is so high as well. So lots and lots for the drivers to think about, tyre preservation, how they look after themselves during the course of, I appreciate it's only a 30-minute race, but with temperatures, as you've seen, it's going to be tricky for those drivers in those cars. So lots of spectators have made their way here to Sonoma to enjoy this weekend, and delighted to see them here. When Ferrari brings a show to a racing circuit, they do it really, really well indeed. And there you can see, just at the back there is the paddock area, and everything getting ready for the first of our 30-minute races from Ferrari Challenge. Trofeo Pirelli. Cars lined up, ready for formation lap then, and to get out there and to contest this wonderful race. Ferrari Challenge then. The year has gone so quickly. Let's go down to the pit lane now, because Tony Galla is going to be singing the American National Anthem.
Fratelli d'Italia, l'Italia se desta dell'elmo di Scipio, se ginda la testa, dove la vittoria le porga la cioma che sciava di Roma, il Dio la creò. Fratelli d'Italia, l'Italia si desta, dell'elmo di Scipio si cinta la testa, dove la vittoria le porga la cioma e sciava di Roma, il Dio la creò. Stringiamoci a cohorte, siamo pronti alla morte, siamo pronti alla morte, l'Italia ci amò. Stringiamoci a cohorte, siamo pronti alla morte, siamo pronti alla morte, l'Italia ci amò, sì. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you very much to Tony Galla then. The American national anthem preceded, of course, by the Italian national anthem, as it would be. It is Ferrari Challenge. Delighted to welcome into the studio alongside me Justin Bell. Good afternoon. I have to say, if the butterflies in the stomach were absent, they're not anymore.
No, and would you like me to do the commentary in Italian as well as English? Because I am totally not capable. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for having me on your show, Dave. I couldn't be more excited. I mean, look at that grid. You said the drivers are getting ready. Yes, I've seen so many of my friends who are coaches with these drivers. Some
Yes.
of Oz Negri and Joao Barbosa, some of the top guys I raced against, top drivers in the world.
Indeed.
Who are now working with these guys, and they know that their drivers have got to be listening to the last-minute instructions, which, of course, they'll all ignore. But once they get out there and the red mist comes down, but there is a lot, and we can discuss it during the race, but time management, discipline, pace yourself, make no mistakes, and get yourself in the position for the last third of the race. That is what I would be looking to tell my guys.
Okay, you're hearing it from the horse's mouth. Justin Bell, then, who's been there, done that, worn the T-shirt and worn it 2 days in a row. To be honest with you, that was a little in-joke.
That was a little in-joke, 'cause I'm in a T-shirt.
Yes, it is absolutely, I mean, the temperatures here on a demanding circuit, a very physically demanding circuit as well, as it winds its way through the topography of this place. we've already seen through our qualifying session, which we brought you on the air earlier on today, it's really, really tough. It's tough on the cars, it's tough on the drivers as well, and it's tough particularly on the tyres. Trying to find somewhere to overtake here is really, really difficult. It is a race that promises much in terms of drama, in my opinion, Justin Bell.
What they're going to do is you're going to keep the pressure on the guy in front.
Yep.
Create an opportunity. Don't take an undue risk. It's 30 minutes, but as we see with this racing, it feels like a 2-hour race goes into 30 minutes. There's just as much strategy. The management of these tires, I was talking to one of the Pirelli tire engineers, and she said, you know, the tires will degrade, but if you manage them and you manage that awfully difficult balance between aggression, holding position, fighting for position, yet bearing in mind what you need for the last stage of the race. That's all you have to do, guys. Be fast, stay in front, make great overtaking maneuvers, and save your car.
There you go.
That's an oxymoron.
There you go. Thanks so much, Justin Bell. Justin joining us on the air, as always, as well. We have Amanda Busick, who will be bringing us the action from down there on the track. Good afternoon, Amanda.
Hey guys, and if you want any commentary from me in Italian down here, the only thing I got for you is ciao, and that's exactly what everyone is feeling down here. What a beautiful celebration to kick off these pre-race festivities, and man, we are just about time for racing. And if you look at the action that we're going to see in this Trofeo Pirelli race, it's going to start here in the first two rows in that class. You just saw Roberto Perina getting ready. He has a win here. If you look over here to Dylan Medler, he swept it here in his class last year in the front 2 rows. Jason McCarthy and Manny Franco, they have a win here too. So when you look at the first 4 cars on this grid, that is going to get spicy. I was actually talking to Matt Kurziewski, who is P5 today. He said all the work that he needs today is in front of him, as he expects those guys to burn off the tires, as you were talking about that tire degradation. But since we're down here in the thick of it, let's go find some people to talk to. I saw Dylan Medler getting ready here over as well, and as he catches up with his coach, getting ready with his race sock on. Dylan, I talked to you just a little bit ago, and you said, I know how to win here. What gets it done?
Yeah, I'm just happy for this weekend. Last year, I had 2 great wins here, so I feel like I have what it takes, and I'm just looking forward to what we can do.
Do you have any pre-race routines? I mean, we are surrounded by so many fans taking in this moment. How do you stay centered?
I just chill. I put on my headset, knock out any noise, and just chill in my mind.
Good luck today, Dylan.
Thank you.
And then we ever got to talk to the guy on pole. Manny Franco steps it up again. He took pole. He won from pole here last year, but always a favorite in terms of if you're going to bet on someone that might get it done here, Manny Franco is one of those guys, talking alongside Eric Bachelard. And I talked to you a little bit about the battle that we know we're going to see between you and Jason. How do you guys keep it clean out there today?
We're always honestly relying on each other, keeping confidence in each other, and trusting each other around every single corner here in Sonoma Raceway. So it's just going to be a trust kind of thing. So
the conversation in the booth has already been over the tires and tire degradation. How quickly are you expecting that to happen?
That first lap, of course, you have to push, gain your ground, get your position. That's going to be the first part where the tires are going to degrade pretty quickly. If you're still pushing after lap 2 or 3, you're going to be falling off pretty quickly. So it's, as you said, tire degradation is a big thing here, and preserving those tires it's really important. So
good luck today.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, guys, Manny Franco really put a punctuation on that conversation. You guys were happy, and that might be the name of the game today here at Sonoma.
Thank you so much, Amanda Busick, then, who will be bringing us all the news from down there in the pit lane. And talking to Manny Franco and him putting it on pole position, there's kind of no one better, really, to give us a hot lap around the Sonoma Raceway than one Mr. Manny Franco.
Hi, I'm Manny Franco, driver of the number 18 Ferrari Challenge Evo for New Country Competizione, and this is a lap around Sonoma Raceway. Here at Sonoma Raceway, we're on the front straight, getting ready for turn 1. Turn 1 is a fast left-hander, a lot of commitment, uphill. You're gonna get a good compression, just trying to stay as far left as you can, carry as much speed. Braking zone here for 2. At the crest, you're gonna get a little bit of oversteer, trying to apply power as quickly as you can. Here for 3 and 3A, trying to hug that left side, use all the compression. Turning right here for 3A, you're gonna get a little bit of oversteer coming up the crest of the hill. Heavy braking zone for 4. The car tends to snap loose a little bit. Trying to get on power as soon as you can. This is a fast right-hander coming up here. just trying to carry as much speed, full flat, full commitment here for entry of the carousel. You're trying to stay as far left as you can, trying to use all that grip, trying to get on power as early as you can. You have a little bit of compression, full throttle here, going onto the back straight, getting ready for 7, trying to make sure everything's in order. Heavy braking zone for 7 here. You're just trying to send the car in as fast as you can, trying to maintain that speed, keep the car under control for 7A here, trying to apply power as fast as you can without losing the rear. So we're coming into the S's here, really delicate on the throttle, trying to keep as much pace as you can without losing the rear here. You're looking on the left-hand side for a post to indicate where the track limits are. It's a blind corner here for 8A. Going into 9, full flat here. You're braking a little bit here, trying to apply power as quickly as you can, using all of that track on the left-hand side. Going into 11, the last corner. Here you're trying to go for a V shape. It's really easy to lose the end on exit here. Just trying to apply power as quickly as you can, keep that car under control. Going onto the front straight again, start finish here, and this is a lap here at Sonoma Raceway.
Thank you very much, Manny Franco. You and I absolutely glued to that onboard lap because it is really difficult to get it right here, JB.
Yeah, it was just very nice to see a complete lap and see the sort of steering inputs he has to put in. Also, seeing the in-car made me realize we generally talk about the elevation as in turn 2, big elevation, turn 4, 5, you know, a lot of real elevation. There's also some very nasty undulations under the braking zones, especially down for 11. Just when you hit the brakes, you go into a compression, which extends the braking zone. So, you know, we're going to see a lot of action out here. And, of course, you ride in qualifying, a nice clean lap, no one around you. You've got about 20 other cars trying to stop you doing that. About to happen right now.
It's going to be a very, very busy place indeed. And the pit lane was certainly very, very busy. And that's where we find Amanda Busick.
Well, in the Trofeo Pirelli class, there is mixed class racing. So we also have the Trofeo Pirelli AM. And the guy that took pole there earlier today is John Horsch. He was on pole here last year, so we'll see if he can get that converted. With the odd number of cars in Trofeo Pirelli, John actually has what he called the privilege of starting on the outside lane. He thinks that this actually sets himself up better going into turn 1. Will not start on the inside lane traditionally, as you will for the pole sitter overall in Manny Franco. When I talked to Justin Rothberg about the same question in terms of, hey, now you're on the inside, you're in that second row, he said, actually, I kind of like the outside too. So should be an interesting start here in Trofeo Pirelli AM. But talking to Justin this weekend, it was here last year that he got his very first win in the season. I remember talking to him after the race, and he was a little shy, a little nervous. So when you look at how much confidence that Justin has grown into over this season with collecting those wins that he's seen, he told me he was going to talk to me after qualifying, and since that didn't happen, he just said, I will absolutely see you after this win. Let's get to know a little bit more about Justin Rothberg.
Hi, I'm Justin Rothberg, the driver of the number 29 car for Conquest Racing. I did the Corsa Pilota classes right when I got my driver's license, and that was really fun. Got to experience the challenge car, always wanted to go racing, and my mom wasn't comfortable with me doing motocross, so a challenge car was a lot safer. So here we are, 2 years later. It's been going well, in the lead, but only by 4 points right now, so it's definitely anyone's game still. I started off terribly in Homestead, and since then, it's been all good weekends, and it's just been uphill since then. PM's a pretty good field, so it's fun. Everyone's out there putting in similar times, and you really got to push yourself. And last year, I got my first win here. It was the last race of the season, so it felt really good to win in that season, because it was my first season in racing. I was in Shell, and it's just good coming back here. It's the first track I've been to where I have a win under my belt, so it feels good coming back here.
Justin Bell, you develop a relationship with a racing circuit, and you've raced on hundreds of racing circuits. You know, therefore, if you're successful at one, that's got to become a favourite, and that's got to give you some confidence going into your next event at that same circuit.
Yeah, everyone always asks, what's your favourite track? The ones I've won at. Generally, there are the ones that get away. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, Watkins Glen, I love that track, but I've never really done very well there. It's just as it is. And definitely, he won the race of the year. You win the first race, and you could be on that, well, look at Charles Leclerc last year. I mean, won the opening races, and by the end, they were distant memories. You know, it's the same in any series. You want to win the race, the last race, because as they say, you're as good as your last race. And certainly having that over the off-season, I don't know how he's done through the season so far, but if he won on this track, this is fresh in his mind, and his confidence level is, well, I'll see you afterwards. I'm going to win again.
Yeah, absolutely.
That means he knows he can do it.
And the first bit of that is he did a good job in qualifying in Pirelli Am. Of course, he's going from P2. John Horst just besting him in qualifying for Pirelli Am. But nonetheless, he did a very good job in qualifying. But as you mentioned earlier on, qualifying's one thing. When it comes to the race, it's altogether different. You've got a lot of cars around you. There's traffic. There's all sorts of things to consider, things that can happen in front of you, things that can happen behind you. There is a lot to be considered.
So while they go out now, they'll be getting a bit of radio communication in the cars with all due respect, the idea of your crew chief, or your engineer who's on the phone with you, who's on your headset, you're drawing on his experience,
yes,
and his or her experience, and they're helping settle you, telling you what to look for, reminding you to be relaxed. You'll have a little bit of an idea what you want to try and pull off, and you'll have discussed it in the first few corners. The reality is that game plan goes straight out the window,
yes,
because there are too many variables. But it was very interesting to hear Franco saying, it's all about, if you've got to know where you are by the third lap, and then you'll settle down, which means there will be people who won't settle down, who will, it's the tortoise and the hare thing, and they're going to charge a little aggressively, and then we'll just see them circulate backwards, as soon as we get to the midway point. Track temperature is a big deal here. The Pirellis work very efficiently in this temperature range. The only difference is this is a highly abrasive track, and high cornering loads, and especially that front left, you can punish through that long carousel corner there at number 6. But we're going to see some good race strategy, I think.
Very interesting, the point that you make, that, the engineers, the coaches, the drivers, they discuss what the strategy is going to be before the race. But as you say, there are so many variables. You can have the best plan in the world, can't you? It only takes one other driver to do something that he's not going to run with that. That means that their strategy all of a sudden is out of the window. Managing director of Ferrari North America is Matteo Torre, and he's with Amanda Busick right now.
Well, Dave, and the Ferrari Challenge cars are just making their way back around to us on their recon laps. And Matteo, we take in this event. I just keep staring at turn 11 and how beautiful it looks this weekend. And when you think of this weekend for our drivers and their families and their friends, how special of a stop is this for the series?
No, we're always very excited to be here in Sonoma. It's a fantastic race. We have more than 100 cars on the paddock, but also so many people in our hospitality, and all the people that are watching from home. It is an incredible race. So we are very excited, and there is a lot of fun, a lot of action on the track and outside the track.
I sat in the driver briefing earlier today, and there was a lot of special announcements coming out of there talking about Mugello, the Finale Mondiale later this year. But there's a special event happening tonight and some special announcements. What's that?
Still a secret. It's still a secret, but we will release the calendar for next year's season, and is another testament of the continued investment that Ferrari has on the motorsport and on the Ferrari North America Challenge Series.
Well, Matteo, thank you. I know we're going to hear from you in just a little bit. Guys, he gets to say the words that all race car drivers want to see. I bet you know what that is.
Oh, I might. It's good work there, Amanda, in trying to get some of those secrets unveiled from Matteo Torre before they were due to be published tonight, but you failed. Sorry for that. Right, cars then on this recon lap then as they head around, and from that camera angle you can see just how much punishment the tarmac has taken here, Justin. You mentioned that it's a really, really abrasive track, and you can see there where some of it has been repaved. I mean, it does take its toll, does it not, on the Pirelli tyres, and also the cars and the drivers too.
Part of it is, as I've just remembered, because I drove around here on Wednesday. I was actually shooting content for our Pebble Beach Casa Ferrari show that I host with you, and I was shooting the sizzle for the Open, and I had the beautiful 296 GTB, a hybrid, which I have to say was a pretty stunning piece of kit. And I was out on this track between 5 and 7. I was so happy to do it, albeit they told me I had to go maximum of 75. They didn't say how quickly I could get to 75.
Right.
But the point being, I was able to feel those bumps and refresh my mind. And there is a lot of underbraking, which makes overtaking, let's talk about that later, a bit dicey.
Well, let's learn and know a little bit more about the track, because that is going to be critical for us. And no one better than Chuck Whittle to give us our Know the Track feature.
Hi, this is Chuck Whittle of Ferrari of Central Florida, car number 68. Today we're here at Sonoma Raceway for Know the Track. As you're exiting turn 2 at 105 miles an hour, we decelerate to about 73 miles an hour for a late entry into turn 3. It's so important that we hold the curb all the way around. After you depart the curb, you start to slowly turn your hands to the right and enter the curb at 3A. It's a blind turn, you're going over the hill, so you must enter it at the perfect angle. You're still carrying speed, no braking. You go over the hill, and you're set up perfectly for turn 4. So I'm standing in the curb at 3A. It's important that you keep your wheels in the curb all the way. If you come out to the left, you're going to run out of road. So stay to the right the whole time, go over the hill, accelerate down. So right now we're standing at the top of the hill at the exit of turn 3A. As you can see, it's pretty daunting. If you miss the turn, you're going to be off the track. And what's important to have here too is heat in your tires. If you don't have heat in your tires, coming over the hill you have lift, no heat in the tires, you'll go into a spin and end up in the tires on the other side. So it's important you have good tires, you have the right angle coming out of 3A, and you're ready to approach turn number 4. Thank you for joining me today at Sonoma Raceway, turn number 3, and this has been Know the Track.
Thank you so much, Chuck Whittle. Then Know the Track feature, and he just picked 2 or 3 turns there, and proving just how critical it is to get it right. And when you're looking at that downhill section into 3A, it reminded me of Paddock Hill Bend at Brands Hatch, which is like a cliff top.
Yeah, and braking downhill, like I said in qualifying, extends your braking zone.
Yeah.
And then when you come off the brakes, it's very hard to, the weight's over the nose, and you can actually get a lot more understeer, push, as they say here, going through that right-hand corner. I bet Chuck's thinking to myself, I better not mess up in turn 3 and 3A, because I just gave the class on it. He did a master class,
yes.
And better not be the corner where he loses it. But no, just great to see the enthusiasm, and what a great thing for these drivers to get the chance on something they are truly passionate about. That's why they're here, and get the chance to feature on the TV show. I mean, it's actually a wonderful opportunity, and you can tell they love it.
Yes, the passion is so important across the Ferrari Challenge in terms of everything that the drivers do and that we do to try and convey that passion as well, and try and convey their enthusiasm for this wonderful motor racing series. This is the Ferrari Challenge North America, and we are seeing the cars of the Trofeo Pirelli and Pirelli drivers lined up ready to go for their first race of the weekend. 30 minutes of race action to come from the Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli drivers. As I mentioned, that mix of Pirelli and Pirelli Am drivers who will take to this extraordinarily difficult Sonoma Raceway. I make no secret of the fact it's the first time I've been here to Sonoma, and when Justin and I were talking in the weeks previous to this, he was saying you're going to absolutely love it, Dave, because it is a proper old school circuit, and you've not been wrong. It's exactly that. And actually Ferrari have kind of put their stamp on this place and made it something very, very special indeed. The whole paddock area, everywhere you go, it's got this wonderful Italian passion about it, and when Ferrari do an event, they do it really, really well. And here in Sonoma, it has been proven correct. There is a special function, as you may have heard from Matteo Torre, that is happening tonight, where a number of things are going to be talked about, and a calendar is going to be released for 2024. And there is the wonderful hospitality facility that is here for all the guests of Ferrari, for the Ferrari Challenge drivers and family and fans, etc., to really enjoy. So it is something very nice indeed. And of course, with this glorious weather that we're enjoying here in the Napa Valley in California, the setting is absolutely perfect for Ferrari Challenge racing. So let's go back down onto the track now, because it falls upon the managing director of Ferrari Challenge North America, or Ferrari North America, to utter those immortal words.
Drivers, start your Ferrari engine.
You know what, Matteo? You did that pretty well. You and me are in trouble, Justin. He's going to be up here shortly.
Well, he did that with that wonderful accent. Oh, anyone that's wondering, actually, Dave does know some Italian, I just found out. It's called an affogato. which is vanilla ice cream with espresso poured all over it. So that is apparently your secret sauce.
Sotto passaggio to you. That's all I can say.
That's what I heard from that hospitality unit. That's all. One of the best names in Italy, Affogato.
We did have a lovely lunch together. It was really, really enjoyable. And what was really nice for me, and I'm sure for you as well, is this wonderful Ferrari family that we get the opportunity to talk about, who come up to us and say, hey, we love listening to you guys. You're doing a great job. And it's really, really appreciated. It's very, very nice. Thank you. We just do our job and we try and do it to the best of our ability. So 30-minute race to come from the Ferrari Challenge cars then that are heading away now. Here comes our formation lap. Stand by. I'm tempted to say if you've got any loose-fitting clothing, hold on to it, because it's going to be pretty dramatic, I would suggest, in the first few corners as these cars are unleashed on this Sonoma Raceway. Ferrari Challenge, Trofeo Pirelli and Trofeo Pirelli AM cars then making our way past the camera then, and here you can see them. Our studio location is just to the top right-hand side of your picture. If we wave now, you might be able to see us. Well, I waved, but you didn't respond. So stand by. We are getting ready for race number 1. So cars now, what's going through a driver's mind at this point, Justin? You've been in this position hundreds of times.
Interestingly enough, this is when the nerves have gone. The nerves are before you put on the helmet and your friends are there, and you can see how packed the grid was with all the fans here and family in attendance. Right now, it's actually the nicest, but you're calm. You actually have that anticipatory butterflies that leads to great performance. Without butterflies, you can't do anything well, I think. You've got to have a degree of nerves. They know what they're doing now. They as I say, they will literally have been told by their coaches how to play it. You've just got to see how that works out.
Let's bring you the grid in full then of our mix of Pirelli and Pirelli AM drivers then as they're on their formation lap ready for race 1. Here it comes then. A great job done by Manny Franco. Puts it on pole position. Alongside him is Jason McCarthy going from P2 to the second row of our grid, which contains Dylan Medler and Roberto Perina, representing the collection, and also Ferrari of Seattle, respectively, for those drivers. Matt Kurjewski, he's got work to do from P5. Jonathan Bennett here in the Ferrari Challenge goes from P6. Dave Musial Jr. going from P7. Custodio Toledo is alongside going from P8 to the 5th row of the grid, where we find Martin Burrows, and then the best of the Trofeo Pirelli AM drivers, that's John Horsch. He goes from P10 on the grid overall, with Justin Rothberg from P11 and Brad Falver, good quality Brad, he goes from P12 to the 7th row. It's Brian Cook and Michael Mathis then going from P13 and P14 for Ferrari of Seattle and Ferrari of Central New Jersey, with the returning Dave Musial. Welcome back, Dave, going from P15. Tony Davis, another driver with work to do, from P16. Omar Balkasoon and Michael Porter go on the 9th row of the grid. It's P17 and 18 for those drivers, with McCade Wang and Chuck Whittle, who we heard from just a few moments ago, they go from P19 and P20. Joe Sposado and Jay Logan are P21 and P22. Ferrari Beverly Hills and Boardwalk Ferrari. That is your grid in full. The mix of Pirelli and Pirelli AM drivers, they're lined up side by side in grid formation behind the Richard Mille safety car, which leads these cars around this extraordinary 12-turn, 4-kilometer circuit. This is the Ferrari Challenge. There you can see turn number 11. And we'll be heading into that turn, and then when the cars exit that turn, it's all eyes on the lights and the flags then, because we are looking for green. You can see the pit entry on the right-hand side then as the cars are approaching turn number 11 right now. Side by side, jostling for position. They will be as soon as they exit turn number 11, trying to get the absolute perfect trajectory as the Richard Mille safety car then, as we split the screen. Richard Mille's safety car has peeled off. We are ready to go racing. This is Ferrari Challenge then, and as you can see, a brilliant start there from Manny Franco as we go green. Manny Franco from Jason McCarthy and Dylan Medler then as they climb uphill for the first time of asking. This is Trofeo Pirelli and AM drivers together there, and you can see them side by side, 1 or 2 getting a little bit loose going into that turn, but holding on to the cars, and I have to say, creditable performance from all of the drivers thus far. Justin Bell, they seem to be keeping it clean and tidy.
Yeah, Manny did the perfect start. He took advantage of his option to start accelerating, but when the pace car pulled off at his will, it was a clean start. Nothing illegal about that, but it gave him the gap going up the hill, and in all due fairness, all the other drivers wanted him to have that break too, because it allows for a clean turn 2-3 situation.
Yeah, looking very, very clean and tidy then as the drivers are just beginning to settle down a little bit here. And as you can see, going side by side here and trying to make things work. Matt Kojewski is a driver that we said early on has got work to do and try and get up the order. And to do that, get past Robert Perina was one part of it. And in fairness, Matt Kojewski is laying down the gauntlet straight away, and he's done that. And that was a very, very good overtake, and one where I didn't necessarily expect to see it. So there you can see Matt Kojewski with another 4 cars ahead of him, as somebody has gone around there, and that's Brian Cook. That as the car has rotated, he does get it going back in the right direction once again, but that has dropped Brian Cook down the order. He was in that P4 position, so very, very unfortunate for him. Manny Franco nailed the start absolutely perfectly. He's done exactly as we expected him to try and build something of a gap over Jason McCarthy. That's what he needs, to try and stretch his legs a little bit, and that's precisely what he's done. As they cross the timing line, we'll give it a gap, and it's 1.5 seconds already that Manny Franco has put on Jason McCarthy, and then it's Dylan Medler and Matt Kojewski up to P4, as I mentioned, having got by Roberto Perina. Custodio Toledo and Martin Burrows have got by Dave Musial Jr. as well, so he's dropped down the order. And we can see on the left-hand side, the graphics, Brian Cook having dropped down the order as well, because, of course, he went around. So now, Roberto Perina is coming back here at Matt Kojewski. This is the battle for P4. Matt Kojewski, within his target sights, is Dylan Medler ahead of him. He won't be looking at the rearview mirror. He'll be thinking and targeting that car ahead of him, won't he?
He will, but what we're seeing here is these 3 guys are actually working their car and the tyres way harder than Franco, McCarthy and Medler out front.
Okay.
So we're actually going to see an increase in the gap between them as the course of the race goes, because they're nicely gapped, and I think you're going to see coming into lap 3, I know that's when they're going to start to pace themselves, but if they want to be competitive and race throughout the 30 minutes. These guys, when you're behind someone, you're later on the brakes. You're being more aggressive with the steering. You're not taking the perfect racing line. So it's great sporty stuff. It's just very hard on the tyres. So these guys, it's going to be interesting who is driving, who's releasing the wheel with the most sensitivity. It's great stuff.
So whilst we were watching that little battle going on, Justin Rosberg has got past John Walsh to pick up the lead in Trofeo Pirelli AM. So well done to the driver of the number 29 car, living up to his Rottweiler nickname. Look at that. He's in P1 in Trofeo Pirelli AM. So it's Rosberg from Horsch from Tony Davis. Tony Davis has advanced himself no end of places. Tony Davis doing a really, really good job. He's up into a podium place already. His grid position was very, very lowly. I spoke to him after qualifying, and Tony Davis had real problems here on Wednesday, and in fairness is in a T car because of a crash he had on Wednesday. But Tony Davis really got the bit between his teeth, and he is now chasing John Horsch for a potential P2 place, but he's got quite some time to make up, so he's going to be taking quite a lot out of his car. But he's already done the very, very hard work and put himself ahead of Dave Musial, Brad Falver and Omar Balkasoon and others as well.
The pace of this race they're doing, I mean, great lap times, being controlled nicely from the front with their gap staying static at about 1.6 seconds. So they're all suddenly settled down. Now, you could say watching at home, well, that means the racing is going to get boring. Well, no, what you're going to see is the race start to come to you, depending, we call it the racing positions coming to you, and these 2 are fighting like crazy.
Yeah, well, forgive me, I think that Dylan Medler made something of a mistake there. He appeared to be a bit wide into that turn, and that allowed Matt Kojewski to get a little bit closer still further. That will be really playing into his hands. But what Matt Kojewski wants to do here is he wants Dylan Medler to make an error, doesn't he? He wants Dylan Medler to just lose concentration for a moment, and then like a viper, he will be ready to attack.
Just keep the pressure on.
Yeah.
And he's close enough to keep that pressure on, but he's also got pressure from behind.
Yeah, very much.
So he's not able to just focus, eyes looking forward. So these guys, this train of 4 cars is the race right now. I think you see 4 different lines coming off that corner.
Yes.
One looking to get a bit of an advantage down the straight, the other one just trailing, looking in his mirrors. These guys, this race is by no means over. This race has just started for these guys in terms of who's going to be. This is not necessarily the finishing order. everyone talks about this track being hard to overtake on, yet there are more overtaking zones on this track than most other tracks.
Wow.
It's hard to overtake,
Yeah.
but you have heavy braking zones, and therein is the opportunity.
Roberto Perino, having been passed by Makoyevsky, he's not taken this line down. He has kept with him, as you quite rightly said, this three-way fight that is going on at the moment for P3 in the Trofeo Pirelli race is turning into be something really, really exciting. So the more, there you can see Roberto Perino getting just a little
Way
bit
out
closer
wide
to
there.
Makoyevsky. And of course, this is all playing into the hands of Dylan Medlow, who's able to escape up the road. Now, I often say this, and that is Makoyevsky is in this really, really difficult position, Justin, because he's trying to attack, but he's also got to defend as well. I mean, you've got two disciplines there that you're really having to work at.
It'd be much easier if humans had been born with an eyeball on the back of their head, because you kind of need it right now. I mean, this is such a full commitment track. Just doing what you need to do to hold your line, to be fast around here, involves all attention forward. When you've got someone who's giving you a bit of grief behind, your attention is distracted. But they know the pace now. They're already starting to probably just understand how they need to manage their tyres, because otherwise they become very vulnerable. They'll become a victim in the last half of the race. But wow, I mean, look at our leader. He's extended to 2 seconds now.
There's quite a battle going on here. They're queuing up behind Tony Davis here. Tony Davis, who's done a brilliant job, moved up some 4 places in Trofeo Pirelli Am. He's got a number of cars behind him, as you can see, and including Dave Musial and Brad Falver and Omar Balka soon, as well, as this battle goes on. Now, Tony would love to be taking the car to John Horsch, of course, and to try and fight for that position. But Brad Falver, having got past Dave Musial, that puts him into P4. Well, of course, what he would love is a podium, wouldn't he? So the number 66 driver is pushing Tony Davis for all he's worth, and so Tony Davis is not able to escape. And here you can see the evolution on the last lap time. Brad Falver was marginally quicker. As I often say, it's all very well being quicker than the car in front of you. You've got to find a way by.
Almost had a little dive under the inside there. He's putting a lot of pressure on. Unfortunately, Davis is now driving in his mirrors.
Yeah.
And he was really going out of turn 11, but he was really too slow into turn 2. And I thought he was going to get that beautiful gap, maybe a second, which allows you just to start pacing yourself and not focus on the guy behind. But right now he's very vulnerable. But I've got to say that for Farrell behind, he's working his tires. Whoa, look at that move behind.
Yes, Dave
taking
Musial.
Advantage of the traffic there.
Omar Balkasoon and Dave Musial go side by side here, and Dave has just got the momentum, hasn't he? And also trying to buy into that is Michael Mathis in the light blue car as well.
We said it even in qualifying, you're going to keep the pressure on, you're going to have the opportunity to force someone into a mistake. This is now a 5-car battle, and a 6th car I can see out the window is starting to want to join in this fight. So this is actually a wonderful race. These guys, as it was explained to me, these guys really know how to extract the most out of these cars. They are driving these so fast. The question is, who can drive it that fast for the 30 minutes?
There's nothing better than more guests coming to the party, and that's precisely what they've got at the moment. So let's just check in here with Manny Franco, who is leading the race, and leading the race when last we checked by some 2.5 seconds. So he did everything that he needed to do right at the start of the race. He started perfectly, and Jason McCarthy has been on the catch-up ever since, and Dylan Medler as well. And Matt Kajewski is getting within 7/10 of Dylan Medler, but has not been able to make a move for that P3 yet. Meantime, let's go on board here, and we can see just how intense the fight is getting. We're on board with Martin Burrows. Now, Martin Burrows is the driver of the number 46 car, who's currently running P8. He's got Custodio Toledo here, and in the number 88 car as he goes. Look at this, absolutely side by side here now. Around the outside is going to be a big ask, isn't it? But
he's going on the wide line. He's trying to carry more speed. This is a very demanding call. Whoa, look at him twitch on the way out. That's great stuff.
Come on now, that was an overtake, wasn't it? Custodio Toledo and Martin Burrows there. Martin Burrows, I mean, the commitment he had and the bravery, and he had big round spherical things, I would think, to go around the outside.
Gosh, yeah, look at him. He's like someone just lit the taper and he's shot off. He was obviously, he has the pace in the car right now.
Yes.
And he actually needs to not even look in his mirrors now. That job is done. Focus forward and just try and extend a bit of a gap. But you got this a red Ferrari I've just died to say that, show my ignorance. A red Ferrari, that's the extent of my knowledge right now. The red one. No, you know, he was really pushing him under braking there. And that is the strategy. You've got to try and, all the stuff the coaches have been saying about pace yourself, find your gap, find your rhythm. Poof. All gone out the window.
You remind me very much. I had the privilege of being on air in Daytona with Kimi Räikkönen. And I said to Kimi, you know, come on, which of these drivers is going to win? He said, it'll be a red car.
That's funny.
Kimi is just great fun. Absolutely great fun. Manny Franco leading for Trofeo Pirelli. Justin Rothberg leading for Trofeo Pirelli Am. And this race is shaping up to be really rather nice. Here's Michael Mathis then, who is on the tail of these three cars, which is led by Tony Davis. Then it's Dave Musial. Then it's Omar Balkasoon. Then it's the Michael Mathis, the light blue car that we were looking at. Now, as they've been fighting, of course, it's played nicely into the hands of Tony Davis, who's been able just to escape up the road a little bit. But he's got Brad Falver ahead. Brad Falver, who is now running in that P3 position. So Tony Davis relegated to P4 in class as we ride on board now and see what it's like from a driver's eye perspective. Tony Davis then giving us a high-speed lap around this really rather challenging Sonoma circuit. And he's still within shouting distance of Brad Falver. So Brad in that P3 position at the moment with John Horsch P2 and Justin Rothberg P1. So Tony Davis doing everything he can. He's got Dave Musial at his trumpet along with Omar Balkasoon, Michael Mathis as well.
Very important to, at this point, to not get hyper-focus on the back of the car in front and stop your tire management. I mean, they are driving so well in the, I mean, really, two side by side almost coming onto the pit straight. That is literally inches apart going into turn 1, 2.
Oh, well,
whoa.
And of course, this is Justin Rothberg, who we can see climbing up
Made
the
a mistake.
hill.
I saw it happening. He went out wide, he went in too far, and there's been a position change there.
Well, the position is out of class, of course, because we've got a Pirelli driver and a Pirelli Am driver there. So Justin Rothberg and John Horsch have gone through on Custodio Toledo.
I thought he was being a bit unpolite because he just went through like it's like someone you're trying to get a drink at the bar and someone pushes past you. That's what we just watched. I thought it looked a bit decisive.
Oh,
whoa!
And
okay.
that is Tony
retirement.
Davis, unfortunately, and he has had a torrid time of it. And unfortunately, we see the number 4 car out. So the Continental Autosports driver Tony Davis, who's been having a really good season, he's in the T car following an off on Wednesday, and unfortunately it looked to me like his race was done and dusted because he's parked the car off the track now. So that's a great shame to see Tony Davis out of the race. So Manny Franco from Jason McCarthy and Dylan Medler for Trofeo Pirelli drivers. For the Am drivers, it is Justin Rothberg from John Horsch, and Brad Falver is P3 at the moment, ahead of Dave Musial. So there you can see the all-red car is a Trofeo Pirelli car, which is between these drivers then who are running it in Pirelli Am. So, and the Dave Musial Jr. car there with the red strip across the top of the windscreen. He's running in P11 in the race overall, but he is the Trofeo Pirelli driver. And so too is the all-red car here of Custodio Toledo, which is being pursued right now by John Horsch. John Horsch and Justin Rothberg have, well, Justin Rothberg has checked out, hasn't he? He's got by. So it's down to John Horsch to do the same now. And so as he's pursuing the Custodio Toledo car. Now, of course, Custodio Toledo's in his own race. He's got no reason to indicate left and just let another driver through, even though they're in a different class. So, unbelievably, the first half of the race is very nearly done and dusted already. So, here's the lap evolution between Justin Rothberg and John Horsch. And John Horsch looks like he's just a little bit quicker on lap 6 and 7, but lost out in lap 8 because, of course, he's now stuck behind the.
And he's getting frustrated.
Yes,
I can see it. He's starting to get aggravated. You can see it's in his mirrors, and he's like, "Yeah, you may be in this top class, but I'm top class right now." And he's got. Remember, tire degradation is an equal opportunity issue. You know what I mean? As in, everyone's going to suffer from it, no matter your talent level or what category you're in. So there's a lot of pressure going on here, and they. I mean, you look at the way they're driving, they're keeping the cars nice and tidy, and these cars, you saw it in qualifying when you overdrove it, the car would snap out on you, And in these, you can't do that right now. And that phase of the race we're about to head into, where if you apply the wrong pressure, the wrong stresses to your tires by overdriving, you're going to severely get punished for it in terms of overall lap time.
Yes, you're absolutely right. So, as the cars head towards the line, then Roberto Farina and Bennett here having something of a fight. Now, this is what I was wondering whether we were going to get to this. Matt Kajewski has got onto the back of Dylan Medler. Now, this is for a podium place. So, Dylan Medler under real pressure now from the hard-charging Matt Kajewski. So, Matt then, who has had also something of a stellar season, is trying very, very hard to find where he can just provoke Dylan Medler maybe to lose concentration just for a moment and allow him to go through. So what have we got? 14 minutes of the race remaining. Matt Kajewski doing a very, very good job here and putting himself into a good position. He had a torrid qualifying, and in fairness, I spoke to him very briefly before the start of the race, and he said, I just know what I've got to do. And
his
here he
grip
goes.
is up. His grip is up. He's really managed his tires very well. This was a foregone conclusion, this overtake. I mean, he really has done a nice job. He was able to drive up the inside, no challenge, but he set that up over the last lap. You see a little twitch there as he comes out. Come on, guys, focus, look ahead now. You did the hard work. You did an excellent overtake. Now you got to gap him. You just got to give it and focus down the road so you can.
Just as we're going to speak to Amanda in just a moment, meantime, this is John Horsch, who's getting frustrated, as you said, behind Custodio Toledo. So just while we watch this battle going on here, it's not a within-class battle, but it is a battle on track nonetheless. And it is Custodio Toledo that is currently ahead of the car of John Horsch. And John Horsch, of course, has got Dave Musial Jr. behind him as well. So you've got two Pirelli drivers with a Pirelli Am driver right in the middle here. The meat in the Pirelli sandwich, if you like. And you can see, you're absolutely right. You picked this up earlier on, that John Horsch is getting a little bit frustrated. It was a brilliant move from Matt Kajewski. He's put himself up into P3. Amanda, apologies. Let's come back to you.
You're totally okay. We love seeing battles here on track at Sonoma. I was going to add on to Kajewski. Dave, I spoke to him as well prior to the race, and he said even with that qualifying, he thinks that he had a really good race car to see this to the finish. But you talk about that tire management, that's exactly what his plan was today. He wanted all those cars ahead of him today to go ahead and use up those tires and to make it to the end. But when you think of a patience that a race car driver has to have to hold back, to wait for the race car to come to them later in the race, how difficult of a decision is that?
You're absolutely right, and it's been a masterclass from Matt Kajewski. Presumably, Justin, that's exactly what he has done. The Ferrari Beverly Hills driver, driving very much with his head rather than his heart, and he's picked off the cars when he's had the opportunity to do so, but he's not overstressed. After saying that, Dylan Medler is staying with him, but for my money, the Dylan Medler car looks like it's not behaving in quite the same way, as Dave Musial now has taken a look at the John Horsch car here. So John Horsch, who has been stuck in this sandwich between Custodio Toledo and Dave Musial Jr. for some time here, and John Horsch, who is P2 in Trofeo Pirelli Am, and he would love to be able to take the race to Justin Rothberg, but for Justin Rothberg, this has played absolutely perfectly for him because he's had two rear gunners really in the likes of Custodio Toledo and Dave Musial Jr., who are certainly not, they're not out there to help Justin Rothberg, but Rothberg just picked off at the right time, didn't he?
Yeah, and it's frustrating. If I was Horsch in this position right now, he's got to make a decision. He's got to say, he's been evaluating Toledo in front. He actually had a couple of opportunities that he didn't, with more experience, he would have taken. But of course, what has happened now is Toledo has been able to gap him a bit, and you've got Musial right up his derriere at this point, which is going to make. He's starting to drive his mirrors now. He had a sweet spot that I think that moment may have come and gone, but if it comes up again, he has to be so decisive, because I personally feel that Toledo's having, he's really struggling with the car right. He's having to work very hard to stay in that position. So there might be a little bit more there, but it'll be very, very interesting up at the front with Manny, because he has probably had the best tire management job, been opportunity, because he hasn't been fighting with anyone. So although he's been going at a fast pace to pull everyone out by 6.7 seconds, he has not done it with, as long as he hasn't been making mistakes, he's done it with the least aggro.
Jason McCarthy is exactly 6.7 seconds behind Manny Franco, but I'll tell you who's charging very, very quickly towards Jason McCarthy, and that's Matt Kurjewski. Let's go back to Amanda right now.
Oh, if you look at the season at hand, we are at the 5th event of this season here in Ferrari Challenge. And when I think of what's happened so far, Kurjewski's kind of run away with a little bit in the situation. But when you look at that battle for 2, you have Roberto Perina, Jason McCarthy, and Dylan Medler all right there. But talking to Jason earlier today, he's really trying to come off of a Montreal event that did not go swimmingly for Jason, and kind of bouncing back into a race and getting back into the groove of hopefully picking up his first win this season. But you think of the challenges that Jason's almost even put on himself. He did that left foot braking last year, still implying that here this season. But ever the fighter is Jason McCarthy.
And he's someone that you absolutely cannot dismiss. Jason McCarthy is a very, very talented driver, and he's currently holding that P2 position. Matt Kurjewski is trying to take it to him, and here you can see the number 55 car, Roberto Perina, who is driving for the Ferrari of Seattle team. There's Matt Kurjewski. He's the one that's doing the chasing now to Jason McCarthy. Now, McCarthy will be well aware of that, but you can see in my opinion, the Matt Kurjewski car now is behaving a little bit differently to how it behaved a couple of laps ago. You can see the brake discs or rotors light up there as he's really applying the braking force. And there is no doubt about it, P2 is going to be better than P3, but actually sometimes, and we're not quite at that stage where you would think about, risk reward and banking points rather than, because we've still got 8 minutes of the race left, and I suspect that Matt Kurjewski will still feel that a P2 opportunity is within his grasp here.
His car 2 laps ago, you will notice it was on fire. I think he hit a sweet. Oh, look at that! Beautiful.
At last, John Horsch has been able to go by. I mean, it's been lap after lap after lap of trying, and he has finally done it. So he does get by Custodio Toledo, and now he has been. He's like a cork that's been released from a bottle. He's escaped up the road, hasn't he?
Yeah, he did that. He did that. His options were getting a little bit frustrating for him there, and he's just got to put his head down. And I'll tell you what, he has an opportunity to even though how far up the road is
Custodio.
No,
it's Justin Rothberg, of course, that he's chasing down, and Justin Rothberg is some distance away, and we've only got 7 minutes of the race remaining. But going back to what you were saying there, and I think you were actually paying me a very small compliment, which doesn't often come from you. I think I read correctly that the car of Matt Kurjewski is different now.
Okay, as we're following. Wow. These guys, you can tell they're still feeling very sporty. There was a middle part of the race where you had to settle down, but now with just over 6.5 minutes to go, which is 5 laps effectively, you've got to have you can read your tires as opposed to your competition. And if you have managed them well, the race is going to come to you. And it's amazing. We could see a lot of changes in the last couple of laps of this race.
I have to say, the drivers have been exemplary in very, very difficult conditions here. Now, Custodio Toledo is under real pressure from Dave Musial Jr. here. So Dave Musial Jr. Really wants to wrestle this position away from the number 88 car of Custodio Toledo. Custodio Toledo, of course, wants to hold it all on for himself. It's the battle that's going on for P8 and P9 in Trofeo Pirelli, and trying to buy into that as well. You can see right in the back of them now is Brad Falva, who is running P3 in Trofeo Pirelli Am. His 2 competitors, Justin Rothberg and John Horsch, are up the road, and with just under 6 minutes remaining, I would suggest his opportunities to get on terms with those are minimised somewhat unless something goes wrong. But John Horsch has just disappeared up the road, having got by Custodio Toledo. Absolutely extraordinary. Now, Dave Musial Jr. taking a completely different line through turn 11.
We've seen it. We saw it up at the top too in turns 7A and 7 and 7A. That is the beauty of being behind. The guy in front will generally, because he's looking in his mirrors a bit, get a little more defensive on his line. The guy behind is trying to set up for faster corner exits. He's driving with the intention of saving his tires, trying to get the car into as straight a line as he can before he goes to full gas.
Okay.
So it's just, and you can do that from behind easier than in front.
Yeah. John Horsch, the gap to Brad Falver, look, is 4 seconds, and that's what he's got to try and reel in. This is Justin Rothberg, who is leading the Trofeo Pirelli AM race by a country mile. He can very nearly indicate left, pull in, and pour himself a coffee. Yeah. Such is the advantage that he has got. Meantime, here is the number 21 car of Matt Kujewski, who's continuing to chase down Jason McCarthy, and he is getting closer to him. There you can see the lap evolution over the last 3 laps. His time beginning to run out now, just over 4.5 minutes remaining. So Matt Kujewski will throw everything at this. He is a fighter, and
it's going to happen.
It's a racing driver as well.
Yeah. Look at him! Oh, he gets just a little bit over rotation in the middle there. Don't do it! Don't do it! You will not keep your advantage. But I think he's looking awfully racy right now. But my advice, easier sitting here, isn't it, on my bum in the commentary booth rather than in the race seat. When he gets there, he has to be absolutely clinical and go by. If he loses his momentum, he won't be able to do it later in the race. It makes it harder, because right now you've got McCarthy looking in his mirrors, going, "He's coming on." He's even saying to his team, probably, he's catching you.
Under braking there.
Very good under brakes.
Very
car
close.
Still looks very stable and very aggressive. If there's a car I'd want to be in right now, it would be third place.
Well, Jason McCarthy is certainly a very, very good driver as well. He'll be more than well aware of the fact that Matt Kujewski is breathing down his neck here. And Jason McCarthy, of course, has got track position. Matt's got to try and find a way by. You can see that Matt was taking slightly different lines. And what he's trying to do is provoke a small error from Jason McCarthy.
Look how wide he is there.
Almost send him a dummy, perhaps.
Yeah.
And that's precisely what Matt is doing. Very, very clever driving here from both of the drivers, because you've got good defensive driving from Jason McCarthy, very good attacking driving from Matt Kujewski. I know we've only got 3 minutes of this race remaining. This is the battle for P2 in Ferrari Challenge Trofeo Pirelli at the moment, and well, you certainly wouldn't bet against it changing before the end of the race, but I think Jason McCarthy now, he just looks pretty comfortable. Matt Kujewski not quite as close to him, and yes, you're right, the lines are completely different.
Don't lose you. He's really trying to get fast corner exits, and I give him great credit. I know he's not finding the tires that good right now in terms of the grip by the last couple of laps, so he's trying to minimize the amount of load he's putting through them and get a whole shot out of the corners, but he's very close.
2 minutes remaining. 12 seconds up the road is Manny Franco. Amanda Busick.
One of the things that I've been following with Manny Franco off season is his journey with his weight loss in terms of his performance in a race car. Manny Franco is already down 40 pounds this year, and he was telling me that every 20 pound he picks up about 1/10 of a second in a race car, which is massive when you think of lap times around Sonoma or any track really. But it really makes me think of sometimes the discussions when people question if race car drivers are athletes, and I think that proves it right there.
That's a very fair point you make, Amanda. So Manny Franco then is benefiting at the moment to the tune of very nearly 13 seconds ahead of Jason McCarthy. Now, to be fair, Jason McCarthy's review screen is full of Matt Kujewski.
It really is. And if I was Jason McCarthy and Matt, yes, I'd be buying Mr. Franco a double, triple cheeseburger after this. I'd need to slow him down a bit. I have no skin in the game here. I just like good racing, and these two are driving very well. I tell you, Jim is doing a really good defensive job. He has not made much of a mistake out in front. One little slip coming out of here. This is perhaps the most vulnerable we see him, but they have very different lines, but with the same net result.
Yeah.
They both come out, this just shows.
The gap is the same,
The gap is the same, even though he actually catches him under braking. I'd say that Kujewski's car is still better under braking.
Well, this is it. It's now or never for Matt Kujewski, and I think Jason McCarthy, you're right. I don't think he has made an error. Matt Kujewski has tried to provoke that, but it just hasn't come, so he knows he's got to do it now or never. Where is Matt Kujewski?
He's going to do it into 7A.
Okay,
That's my 7 and 7A. Oh! Well, wait, Matt, I told you. I haven't given him the cue yet. I haven't told him when he can go by. No, but you know that double apex out there at the end? I think he looks mighty strong there. He's going to set him up now. He's really setting up. He's working on a faster corner eight. Coming out, tuck. Now, tuck to the inside. You had a chance. Beautiful stuff.
Look at this. They go side by side. This is the battle for
But
P2.
he's on the outside.
For Trofeo Pirelli.
That's it. He's going to do it.
Oh,
Great.
under braking now.
Oh,
Here
Matt.
comes Jason McCarthy. Is Matt
He's
Kwiatkowski
gonna do
gonna
the
get
up and under.
switchback? Yes.
Wow.
Oh, and you can see the back end of the Jason McCarthy car getting a bit loose there as he tries to come back at Matt Kwiatkowski. He set it up well. It didn't happen exactly as you'd given him the instructions.
No, maybe.
To be fair,
Not quite. He should listen better. But that was great, and some great overtaking, great defending.
Listen, we've had some awesome driving from this young man, Manny Franco, then, who's got some 13 and a half seconds up the road as he heads towards the checkers. He's had really quite an easy time of it, says he. Manny Franco then will head towards the line and take the checkered flag. He wins for Trofeo Pirelli. Then it was an awesome race between these two drivers then as they were heading for P2 and P3, and it is going to be Matt Kwiatkowski on the line that takes that P2 place away from Jason McCarthy. Brilliant job done by Matt Kwiatkowski, and Jason McCarthy had, he'd held on to it for as long as possible, hadn't he? Dylan Medler takes P4. Wow, what a race in the final stages. But now here comes the number 29 car of Justin Rothberg then. The Rottweiler. He is going to take P1 in Trofeo Pirelli ahead of John Horsch, who's going to take P2. He spent ages and ages and ages, of course, behind Custodio Toledo, and he eventually managed to do that. But you can see just how far behind John Horsch was. John Horsch crosses the line about now. There you go. And he takes that P2 place in Trofeo Pirelli ahead of Brad Falver then, who takes P3. I have to say, there was a race there to be had, and a brilliant job, and credit to those drivers in really, really difficult conditions. Chuck Whittle just getting Michael Mathis, and McCade Wang also going by at the end of the race. But our winner in Trofeo Pirelli, Manny Franco, then taking his racing very seriously, as we heard from Amanda, and it's clearly paying off because it was a textbook drive from him right from the start, Justin.
He did exactly what he needed to away from the green flag. He took the advantage. He kept his head down. Can't have been easy, because I know it never is to lead from out front. But once he had that gap, he finished the race 14 seconds in the lead. So wonderful race. But like, the real battles were behind him in both classes. Very interesting to see how they unfolded. I just thought it was excellent, and we didn't have an incident that caused the yellow flag, and it just shows everyone's really respecting the track and everything that Sonoma Raceway brings to you. It's probably one of the toughest tracks. As they come into the pits there, that must be a very, very happy Manny.
Done a great job indeed. So Manny Franco then bringing the car into the pit lane. Let's give you confirmation of the results then. Here they are, as if by magic. Manny Franco taking the win for Trofeo Pirelli ahead of Matt Kwiatkowski and Jason McCarthy, P2 and P3. Dylan Medler, P4. Roberto Perino, P5. Then it was Jonathan Bennett and Martin Burrows. Now the winner in Trofeo Pirelli Justin Rothberg, and he finished ahead of John Horsch then, who took P2 position in Trofeo Pirelli ahead of Brad Falver, who takes P3. Then it was Dave Musial, Omar Balkasoon, Michael Porter, Chuck Whittle, McCade Wang, Brian Cook, Michael Mathis, and Jay Logan. And credit to all the drivers. Unfortunately, Tony Davis, of course, we saw bringing his car into one of the runoff areas. He did not complete the race very, very regrettably. So that's the way it looked. And there was plenty of activity and action going on. And Justin Rothberg giving us a few donuts. And you know what? That is to be encouraged. I love that. But we're here in showbiz. This is motor racing.
Well, his tires were shot anyway, so
basically on the
you might as well
rims
just give them back in tatters. Who doesn't? The trouble is to do a donut. You know, in today's cars, you have to like change some settings on the steering wheel and take off the traction control. The good old days of just doing it, maybe thankfully have gone. But he should be happy. He drove very well for that, to take that win. But yeah, really I like that race because it unfolded not exactly as we said. He said it would be unpredictable, but it shows the tempo, the cadence of the race was the same for both classes.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
It was almost identical race in both classes.
And what I found just ever so slightly irritating was the fact that actually the race...
I was right a lot.
You were right.
All right.
You were right. You were right. And it's, you know, it's with the greatest respect, it is your racing experience. You knew how it was going to play out. May I just say that back in the UK, I was renowned as being the donut king in my RS 2000.
Well, really?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I heard that was because you were in the Pentagon eating donuts, not because out on the track.
See, I knew you would just bring me down. Thank you so
That's
much.
good. Well, you're the donut king. Well, I like that.
I can drive sideways. Yeah. Manny Franco, he drove in a perfect line for the entire race. And you can see there Lucio Vigani, who is the Ferrari Challenge Pirelli Motorsport Manager, really taking a real keen interest in how those Pirellis have performed on the Manny Franco car, of course. And Manny Franco is out of the car, and everyone that has been in the Ferrari hospitality has been treated to an awesome race, that's for sure. Great job done by all of the drivers. Very creditable performance in slightly, tough ask. You know, the temperatures are really high in that car. Manny Franco, you're a star, and he's with Amanda right now.
Manny, I was talking to Alessandro Balzan after the race, and he was just saying how much fun you had today, and he said how much fun it was watching you achieve what you just did. Does it ever surprise you what you're able to accomplish?
Not in the car, of course. It's only after and hearing the applause of all the coaches and everyone, staff, Ferrari staff and whatnot, that give me all the credit. And, they tell me how surprising it is, but, I mean, it eventually hits me.
It's a 14-second gap that you had on P2, and when you apply that to the racetrack, what do you take away from the experience gained here?
It's definitely one of the, it is the most tire preservation kind of race that I've had. It's definitely something that I'll take with me to any of the other series that I drive with Ferrari with. And to me, it was a fun adventure out there. It was a lot of learning, a lot of just kind of self-control, not to go faster, just to preserve tires, because we're race car drivers. We want to go fast. We're not used to going slow. So.
Congratulations to Manny Franco, his second win on the season.
Cheers, Amanda. Well done for getting Manny so quickly. And you know what? I'm amazed there. There's not a bead of sweat on Manny's forehead.
That wasn't me. I looked melted every time I drove.
Matt Gajewski on 107 points following today's race. Then it's Roberto Perina P2, Jason McCarthy P3. Then it's Dylan Medler and Manny Franco. Moves up a place by dint of his success today. Carlos de Quesada and Jeremy Clark both missing this weekend. Then Dave Musial Jr., Custodio Toledo, and Martin Burrows completing the top 10 in the Trofeo Pirelli Drivers' Championship points. That's the way it looks at the moment with Matt Gajewski on 107 points. So. He knows that banking points is really important, and that's precisely what he has done. So well done to Matt Gajewski. Discussions going on there. There you can see all three drivers there, along with Matt Gajewski, and there's you could also see Matt Dusenberry in there from the Ferrari Challenge Management as well. Here are the points for Trofeo Pirelli Am, with Justin Rothberg on 97 points, a clear 20 ahead of Tony Davis. He's non-finished today, he's going to hurt him. Mark Musso P3, then it's Brian Cook, Chuck Whittle, Michael Porter, and John Horsch moves up a place, now P7 in the Drivers' Championship points on 31 ahead of Brad Falver. Dave Musial and Brian Kaminsky, they are the top 10 in Trofeo Pirelli Am points. So Justin Rothberg then a clear 20 points ahead of Tony Davis, and the rest of the order that you can see there, including Christopher Canazzi, Omar Balkasoon, Michael Mathis, McCade Wang, Alfred Kayola, Jay Logan, and Ian Campbell. That's the way it looks for Trofeo Pirelli Am and the Drivers' Championship points. As we all know, points make prizes, and when we are at the getting towards the sharp end of the season, where every single point is going to be very critical for those drivers to earn as much as they can. So well done. And there we can see from our drone camera then the wonderful Ferrari hospitality here at this Sonoma Raceway. A brilliant circuit, absolutely wonderful. It's delivered a fantastic Trofeo Pirelli race, that's for sure, across both Pirelli and Pirelli Am. And that's just one of the downhill sections there that provided so much action in the course of the race. And here is the number 29 car of Justin Rothberg. Justin, of course, out there doing donuts for the spectators. And I have to say, I'm a real fan of that because I just think, racing drivers, very serious. Athletes, of course they are. And the sport is very, very serious, but here to entertain as well.
Everyone remembers a driver that can do a good donut or do a good drift at the end of the race. It's great fun because it's also a celebration of what you achieved. And Justin Rothberg, he did a really good job in that race, and he's got a good old sweat on, and I'm sure everyone's very happy.
Yeah, and he takes a slug of water. He's well deserving of that, isn't he? And Amanda Busick there is standing by with him. Over to you, Amanda.
Well, Dave, I was telling Justin how much you appreciated those burnouts for the fans. And Justin, we spoke to you a year ago for your very first win, standing right over there. When you think of the development that you've had from one year to the next, how do you compare the seasons?
It's been a much better season. That was the last race of the season, and it was my first win, so it was a good end to the season. But this season, it started off bad, but other than that, it's been really strong, so complete vice versa.
You had prior experience here at Sonoma, getting that win last season. How much did that help you here today?
Honestly, not that much. It's totally changed traction-wise, and they switched the layout, so they're keeping us on our toes.
Nice job today, Justin.
Well done to Amanda Busick then, catching up with our Trofeo Pirelli Am winner, Justin Rothberg. So from myself and my wonderful co-commentator alongside me as well, we're done and dusted for Trofeo Pirelli. We have Copa Shell to come. So from JB and from myself, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye for now.